Hello, I'm Dean Windass, and this is my Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's profile time. Oh, let's go. Georghe Hagi.
Good choice.
Hello. I love him.
Talking about World Cups, and I remember this man being a World Cup legend.
Golden left peg.
Of recent years, yeah. Born 5th of February 1965.
2 years.
Before the summer of love.
Yeah.
Sperm race, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All that.
Good, yep. Marvellous.
Usual.
Move on. He's, of course, a former Romanian footballer and is regarded by many as one of the top attacking midfielders of the 90s and maybe even late 80s, dare I say.
I think his peak was probably... Well, you're going to go on to it, but I'd say his peak was sort of 93. Maybe a
Controversial.
bit... Well, I'll make my dates all over the place. So you've got the facts. You tell us.
Facto.
Yeah.
Well, he's arguably the best Romanian footballer of all time.
Inarguably, almost.
Yeah.
I'd say.
And this is
Because
the
I have
man...
a deep knowledge of Romanian football. I don't think there are many others.
Yeah.
The fans used to call him the Maradona of the Carpathians,
Yeah.
which, of course, is the mountain range across Central and Eastern Europe.
Transylvania, isn't it?
Yes, that's
It
right.
is, yeah.
I think it'd be more difficult to be a Maradona on a hill.
Yeah, you're probably right, yeah.
On a flat pitch.
But
You're not doing
haggis
yourself any
on a
favours, are you?
mountain.
No. Yeah.
Of course, he was an attacking midfielder of the 80s and 90s, and quite exquisite passing, one might say. Great ball control.
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, as an attacking footballer, he really had everything in his locker. He had wonderful control, as you said. He had the ability to weigh in with his fair share of goals.
Oh, yeah.
He had a great passing
What a
range.
long-range shot.
And he was also completely nuts as well, which also helps.
Which is prerequisite.
Like, he was a man for the big stage as well. He liked to perform.
A classic number 10.
Yeah, he
this
was,
guy.
yeah.
Real playmaker. He started playing football very young, as we all do. And despite his small frame and his sort of fragile look, he had fantastic technique from very young, and he would play in leagues and for teams with kids who were 3 or 4 years older than him, which is quite something, you know, when you're very young.
And he was a small guy even when he grew up.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
must have been particularly tough.
That's right, yeah. At the age of 17, he was selected for Farrell Constanta's senior team, who are a Romanian side. And he didn't even manage a season there because the Bucharest-based team, Sportul Studentesc, came in for him. And he spent 4 seasons there, and that's when he became a real big name in Romanian football. And he was top scorer for the club while he was there, with no less than 58 goals in 107 matches.
Wow.
Great.
Bearing in mind, he's not a striker.
That's great.
He's a midfielder. And in the winter of 87, he was transferred to the big Romanian club, Steaua Bucharest, who were, at the time, European Cup holders. Which is amazing to think.
Yes, it wouldn't happen now, would it?
Absolutely not. He was signed by their team as they were preparing for the European Super Cup final against Dynamo Kiev. And the original contract was that it was just for one game, that final. Now, bearing in mind, this is the European Cup holders.
What, and he signed it?
Have signed a player for one match.
Is this to do with that Gigi Bacali nutcase?
Yeah, it probably might have been, actually, yeah.
Your guess is as good
Yeah,
as
yeah,
anybody's, James,
yeah.
I think, on this one. So, he did play in the final. The final ended 1-0.
Yeah. Who scored the goal, Marcus?
Georghe Hagi.
On his debut.
Thanks very much. Did he get a testimonial?
So yeah, so as you can imagine, the Steaua didn't want to release him back to Sportul, and they held on to him, and he was at Steaua between 87 and 90, and he played 97 league games for them, scored 76 goals.
That's great
A
stuff.
midfielder.
It's great stuff. Attacking midfielder, yeah.
Absolutely.
He's weighing in.
And Steaua, you know, were a big powerhouse. You know, he reached the European Cup semi-finals with them in '88 in the final the following year. I think beaten by Milan.
Yeah, they were.
Saki's Milan.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
Yeah. And they were champions of Romania in 87, 88 and 89, and then won the Romanian Cup in those years as well. And his exploits for Steaua and his performances in the 1990 World Cup, because I think we forget he was there. You know,
they got knocked out by the Republic of Ireland, David O'Leary's
on
penalty.
penalties.
Yeah.
And there's some great footage actually on YouTube of him and Maradona on the same pitch, and they look reasonably similar.
Yeah.
Both number 10s, both kind of sort of squat players.
That was a superb tournament. And Romania did awfully well. They got to the second round, yeah.
Second round, yeah.
And obviously Ireland went on to be knocked out by Italy, didn't they?
They did, yeah. So, as I said, you know, his performances for Steaua and the 1990 World Cup performances caught the eye of Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
And he was there for 2 seasons. I can't really remember him at Madrid, if I'm honest with you.
It was... Sorry, would that have been for the 1991 season he signed for them?
That's right. It was after the 1990 World Cup.
I do remember signing because I remember
so 90 to 91.
Yeah, World Cup 90 was the first little tournament I really massively got into, and I remember thinking that Hagi was one of my favourites, and I remember him signing for them. Yeah.
He didn't really set the world on fire at Madrid, it has to be said. He did okay, but he found it quite hard to adapt to the Spanish game and the lifestyle. But he did score one goal, which was nearly from the halfway line, which was an absolute peach.
Some of the goals he scored have been absolutely wonderful efforts. Let's make no bones about that. When you see like you bandy around things like he scored 58 goals, 107 games and stuff, we're not talking about like a poacher of a striker here, like a Pippo Inzaghi. He would pick the ball up from deep, he would run at players, he would beat men, and he would smash the ball in the top corner. He was a superb
And he was
player.
great at a dink.
Oh, he loved the dink.
And his free kick taking was spectacular.
He was,
he had such a good left foot that if he'd had 2 left feet, it would have been a positive thing.
He can open a can of beans with that left peg, I tell you.
Yeah.